Hello everyone, let's have some simple example in order to better understand inheritance in C#. I would like to create a shape class which will be a base class for different shapes. For example, for rectangle, for triangle and other things. So let's create a class called shape, add, then class shape. And then for shape, we can have two different types of attributes. So simply property integer height and property integer length or width. Okay, any shape I will have height and width, and then go here, add another class called rectangle. Rectangle, it's a shape and public class rectangle, which is child of a shape class, and we can have integer. Well, it doesn't have to be integer because it could be float. It's better to make it float because we will divide by 2 in rectangle here. So float compute area, and then I would like to make this public again, and then here I can say return. We have two attributes from the shape class, width and multiply by height, and that's all. And I can do the same for the triangle class, and then triangle is a class and derived from base shape class. Then now I will do the same, float get area. Actually, it's better to define this compute area because it's coming from there, but we have to write some dummy code here, like return, for example, 0, because we don't know. And then I have to make this virtual, because I know that both rectangle and triangle will have compute area, and here it's better to override it simply. And then if you go there, the compute area is going to be here. But I know that for triangle, compute area method will be implemented in different way. So I should return width multiply by height and divide by 2, which is float value. And it's better to make this float, so there will be no problem. And that's all. Here, this should be, of course, override again. And then if I go to the main class again here, let's create some shapes. First of all, let's have rectangle, new rectangle. Actually, we can have, we can set the properties here, but I can simply say rectangle, then width, let's say make it 10, and rectangle, set the height is, for example, 20 here. And for the triangle, my triangle is going to be new triangle. And you know that we can always have a lazy initialization. Height is going to be 30, and then width is going to be, let's say, 20. It's equal to 20, sorry. Now I can simply say that rectangle console write line, then rectangle, and then get compute area, and then console write line triangle compute area. This will give me the area of triangle and rectangle here. There's a problem here. Let me find the problem here. Sorry for this one. I have a problem with my mouse. It's hard to go there. So just move it this little bit up here and we can see the problem. Go here and under the shape there is a problem with curly bracket. If I add one, the problem will be resolved with Control S, Control Shift S, save them all. And then now if I run the project, it will work. So 200 and 300 here. It's working here. But take a look at here, and in the shape class we have a dummy code here, and later on we'll explain how can we resolve this one, because we return the value to 0 because shape we don't know which shape is we are dealing with, therefore we put this return 0 here. But later on we'll talk about abstract class and then we don't have to return anything here. But for now, let's skip this. In C#, we know that the constructors are not inherited. What if I want to create a constructor for my parent class? What should I do in inheritance? So we have to write the constructors for each class because they are not inherited. Now let me explain this in this example. Let's say I want to set the height and width for the shape in the constructor. So public shape, and then integer set the height. So to do setting height, I need to get this as a parameter, and integer width here. So I can simply go here and say this height is equal to height, and then this width is equal to width. We did this in classes, normal classes here. Just want to put this perfectly, and then same here. I think I made a mistake in spelling here. Okay, so this height is equal to height, this width is equal to width here. But now if I go here, there will be a problem. There is no argument given the correspond to required formal parameters. Okay, rectangle is a shape, and for the shape we need to assign width and height. And since rectangle is also shape, we have to assign the width and height for the rectangle as well. But there is no place to assign them because there's no constructor. So therefore, we have to have another constructor for this one, public rectangle. Then set the same, since we have to assign the height first, and we should do the same here. Then integer height, and then integer width. So here we shouldn't do like this. This is not accepted because we are doing the same procedure, height, and this width is equal to width. This is logically correct, but you are doing the same thing that you are doing here. Therefore, in OOP, we have to reuse the existing code, and we cannot use this one. Instead of this one, we can call the base constructor. So simply call the base, and then set the height, and then set the width here. That means we are actually calling this method. That means we are setting the height and we are setting the width by given the argument here. So that's all. If you want to have another attribute for rectangle, for example, just very simple example, string color, you can always do this one. You can add as a third parameter here string color, and then you can set the color for this like this. But for our rectangle, we don't need color, so we can leave this as is, and then no parameter required here. In the same logic, I can do for triangle. Just simply let's copy and paste this one because we know that it's same, but here the name of constructor should be exactly same of the name of class. Therefore, we have to make it triangle, and that's all. But there's a problem here. Go take a look at here, and then in the main class we have rectangle, and rectangle is calling default constructor. But we don't have default constructor in rectangle. If we had, there was no problem. For example, I can say public rectangle, and then fine. So there will be no problem here. But if there is no public constructor, let's take a look at here. We have to set two parameters because there is no matching constructor in the rectangle class. We have to set the height and width. So I don't need this anymore. I can set height for 10 and width for 20. So that's all. And then for triangle, we can do the same, 30 and 20. Now it is going to work. Here, it's working. So this is how we can use constructors in inheritance. You can have multiple constructors as you wish. For example, if my rectangle is somehow, if I want to have another constructor, I can simply do the same. For example, maybe for this one I can have color string color, then I can assign this here. The third parameter could be string color. Then I can say this color is equal to color.